So I would say this test was a success overall. This chin-mounted camera is definitely smoother than the chest mount that I had previously been working with. You know, it's not the most convenient.
Whoa, Brian. Or have you considered the gimbal? In-camera stabilization versus gimbal stabilization. So obviously you definitely got the cost factor. Depending on what you're going to buy for in-camera stabilization, because the GoPro 7 is not cheap from what I understand, and I can't remember that dollar figure right off the top of my head, but you definitely have more components. So I run this chesty mount. You can get the GoPro chesty, or you could do, this is the Stuntman, which I think is very reasonable. I think that's only like $25. Now here's the whopper here. This is the real money item. That's the gimbal. So this is an Evo gimbal. Sorry. And it's actually off right now, but it's still showing some axis. And so this gives you the ability, we'll fire it up. You'll see it engage, and there you go. So now that gimbal's gonna hold that axis. They have various axis settings on the gimbals, but I tend to keep it in its first setting. I can't dissect those 3 settings exactly for you, because I know that this is the one that I use, and this is the #1 setting. When I fire it up, this is the one that I use, and it keeps that horizon exactly where I want it on the bike, okay? So as you can see, pretty wicked. The only time I've had a problem with gimbal noise, and that's a big grievance, with the actual gimbal, the motor inside of it, you're hearing it through the GoPro. It's this nasty grinding. It's sometimes faint, sometimes it's more annoying. It's when I actually charge the GoPro from the gimbal, which it gives you the option to do. So here, sort of brings up my biggest headache with them. You got a GoPro battery you got to change. Okay, well, where is that? Conveniently underneath the bar that holds the GoPro. So you'd have to remove the GoPro. And then I have this little, what do they call that in the show business world? Cattail, I don't know what they call that. That's just to cover up the mic, to keep that wind from beating up the mic, giving you noise. So you have to remove that potentially. And then you have to put the battery into the GoPro. And then you have to feed batteries into the gimbal, which I've already done today to save Brian some time. And that involves removing this back cover, this tiny screw that's very easy to lose on a trail, okay? And then you're inserting, they look to be, I believe, C batteries, I think. Essentially, they're rechargeable, which is good. And then you have a charger for those, which is just a USB based, same with the GoPro. But again, your life becomes some procession of batteries, depending on the length of your filming, the length of your videos. However, quality of footage, I think I've got the edge on you.
So of course the gimbal is going to be smoother. It's kind of silly to compare the two of these in that regard. But one of the questions is, how smooth is too smooth? When does it become so smooth that it makes the trail look smoother than it actually is? Since it is mountain biking, you do want to get the feel of some of the bumps and other terrain, versus feeling like you're just completely gliding across. One of the other things that I've noticed also is that with the gimbal setup, it's pointed in general just up a little higher. That horizon line's kind of right in the middle of the screen. So you're getting more of the scene, it's more cinematic, versus the helmet cam that's pointed a little bit more down towards the trail and down towards the obstacles that you're going over. One of the other things I noticed with the gimbal, and I think it's pretty common with a lot of them, is tight turns and switchbacks. It just can't keep up, so it's kind of lagging behind when somebody makes that turn. Let's see what else Chris has to say about his gimbal setup. So how much did this gimbal cost?
So the gimbal, the Evo gimbal, if I'm not mistaken, I want to say that it was around $300, $250 to $300 just for the gimbal.
And have you ever crashed while you were filming with that?
I'd say I have crashed a total of 6 times at least, with the gimbal being beaten up as well in that, and thus far it survived. I've had instances where afterwards the motor makes noise, but it's still operable. It seems to be doing fine. I noticed that if after the crash I'll notice motor noise within the video, I can actually hear it, okay? And so if I like turn it off and rest it, turn it back on, it's almost like it resets itself. But for some reason, when you manually take it off its axis, at least my gimbal, it doesn't seem to like that. It seems to have its own mind, and it wants to control its horizon on its own.
So let's say everything's broken down in pieces. You got the GoPro off, the battery's out because you're charging those.
Gotcha.
How long does it take you to set the entire thing up, put it on yourself and start riding?
Well, that's a tough question. I try to, essentially, I would have to pull the GoPro battery from the GoPro, set it down, charge the GoPro battery, make sure this mic cover, I've got some 3M tape, make sure that's somehow intact, so it's covering that little fine mic up on the Hero Black. Pull the cover off the back of the gimbal batteries, put those in, reinsert those. I would say if everything was charged, I think I could get this thing, get the batteries in it, and get it on my body within, easily 3 minutes, 4 minutes, but I'm experienced with it. So prior to that, it was taking me a good amount of time. I'd say maybe closer to like 5 or 6 minutes just to get it all on, get it all adjusted.
So the gimbal does have its share of drawbacks, but the helmet cam is not just puppies and rainbows either. There are some big time annoyances with it. So my first two complaints revolve around the chin bar itself, which is obviously there to hold the camera. But the first of which is, let's say you're on the trail and you happen to get thirsty, and you've got your water bottle in your bottle cage. Take it out, and guess what? You can't drink out of it. And even if you have a hydration pack, it's still a pain to sort of fish the little valve up there so you can drink out of that. And then the second thing, occasionally you may have to spit while you're riding. Chin bar, can't do that. And, you could go ahead and place your bets now as to when the first time I'm going to forget that I have it on and spit anyway. And then, of course, it's just hotter in general. You've got more helmet on your head and less way for heat to escape your head. Oh, and if you're riding with some other people and you'd like to communicate with them, well, that full-face helmet is going to muffle the sound of your voice, and it's going to make that kind of a pain. And then, since the camera actually hangs down from the chin bar, you run into problems like this. I just found another disadvantage of this thing. I can't look down when I'm peeing to see if I'm actually even getting it where I'm supposed to. So which one is better? That's honestly a really hard question to answer. They're both inconvenient for their own unique reasons. One of them costs more and the footage looks fantastic, but maybe it looks a little bit too good. The other one, the footage is just not quite to where I would want it. So what is the best thing to do? Is it the GoPro Hero 7 Black with Hyper Smooth? Or the Hero 8 Black, which is about to come out? We don't even know what that could have. Maybe I should just stop worrying about it so much and just put the camera back on the chest mount and go ride? I'm not sure I'll ever have a definitive answer on this one, but I'd really love to hear what you think in the comments. And of course I'll run through the standard ending. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so, and I will see you again for a video soon.
There you go.